Good morning. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and CreateSpace. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled Is Six Figures the New Middle Class? I was on MSN Money yesterday, and I'm looking at the median income, for states in America, and I'm looking at the household incomes for states in America, and it made me think back to when I used to play Madden video game years ago. And I used to make the franchises, and I would make the franchises. They would have, for the team that you wanted to be an owner of, they would have the median income of the people in that city, And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, with all the talks of the shrinking middle class, and I hear women talk about having a six-figure job, and I give women credit for this. They are the best barometers for what's comfortable. And in society, like I said about the shrinking middle class thing, we never asked how much is actually living poverty. Like, I think the median income went up from like 52 to 53 or something like that. But when you talk about median, and this might go over some people's head, a mean, and a median, right? So what they're basically saying, if you got a city, take the richest people to the poorest people, when you smash all of that money together and you divide the people in the city, this is the number it comes up with. So, somebody can make $10 million a year, somebody can make $12,000 a year, but when you add up everybody else in your city, it averages out to about 50 grand. So this is the problem, right? Because look how the cost of living keeps going up. So if the cost of living keeps going up and society's debts keep going up, then the middle class isn't what it used to be. Like, they used to say, you can get a factory job, you can get a house, a nice car, maybe a nice couple of cars, take care of your family off of that one income, raise your kids, and even put them through school, right? Can you do that on one income now? Not unless you're making six figures. And when I'm thinking about six figures, I'm just talking about, 100 and up, Because can you do all of those things? Can you take care of a family on $52,000 a year? Can you afford a house, probably two cars, for you and the wife, and to be able to take care of the kids, and to be able to live comfortably? I doubt it. That's the thing about, we living in an age where you need two incomes to stay afloat. So, and when I said the household incomes was around like 70,000, 76. So roughly, $38,000 between the man and woman is what they're bringing home. You get what I'm saying? Just if you just want to split it 50-50. And, you have individuals who are by themselves that can make that, and they still are struggling. You know why they're struggling? Because they got student loan debt. So what's the problem? So what's really middle class nowadays? I remember they had an article, I want to say a few years back, where it was like, middle class, or a politician was talking about that. Middle class is $250,000 a year now. People was like, yeah, that's crazy. That's a bit much. I would say that's a bit excessive. But depending on where you're talking about living, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Say if you're talking about living, you know, D.C., Virginia, not. You know, if you're talking about living in California, uh, that's probably true. If you're talking about living, I guess I would say Boston or something like that, cost of living extremely high. Maybe even Chicago. You know, but when I think of places off the top of my head, it's some places that are very expensive to live in. Certain places in Carolina, it's not conducive. Probably Miami, stuff like that. If you want to live a middle class life, it's going to cost you more. So I got to ask that question, like, so are women wrong when they say they're looking for somebody with a 6-figure income? I don't think so. You know, not because, even though they may be being unreasonable, because there's not a lot of people in America who are making 6 figures and up. That's a minority, in general. But I don't think they're wrong in the idea that that's probably the starting point for a comfortable life. Because the rising cost of, like, if you get a house, you get a fixed mortgage, cool. But that's not what's killing people who got homes and have to, move different neighborhoods. What's killing a lot of people is the rise in the rise in taxes. That's what's killing people. Your mortgage could be $800. 1 year your taxes could be $300. The next year, so that your mortgage is $1,100. The next year your taxes could be $500. You know what I'm saying? And everybody wants to. And if you live in a nice neighborhood and they want to keep building and building, your tax is going to go up and up and up and up and up. And then it drives people out. So do I think I'm not sure if people can afford that. Thinking about the idea where people went from buying cars to leasing cars to not just getting Ubers everywhere. I mean, is it saving the money? I don't know, because you still got to go somewhere, and how close are you to the things you need? You know what I'm saying? Like, how close are you to a grocery store, or to maybe a Walmart or Target or something like that to pick up things? Walk it like I talk it. Yeah. Anyway, I just like the video. It's Soul Train, whatever. But that's a problem. So now what we doing? Are we? Can we say you might need a couple of hustles? Because not to mention medical. I got to think about that. Medical bills are a mother nowadays. Like, people don't think about, if something happens to you or your loved one and you don't have health insurance, Lord have mercy. Like, aspirin costs you, just a aspirin can cost you $30. Just one aspirin, one freaking aspirin. So think about how much the pills could cost. Think about how much a cast could cost. Think about how much a surgery could cost. Think about how much rehab could cost. Just think about that. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy. Like, very, very much so crazy. So dealing with this in society, not to mention people want to have a certain lifestyle, because America just brands lifestyle to no end, to the point that people will really break themselves to keep up with the Joneses. And I think that's part of what drives the economy anyways. And the reason I think about 6 figures is you can live maybe comfortably, and you can still splurge enough to not feel like you're left out of the American lifestyle that's pushed out to the world, that everybody's like doing it up. And even with people with social media faking it till they make it type thing, right? So it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me. I think some of us don't take everything into consideration. Because I see, like I said before, even where I live at, in the last 5 years, they've built more apartment complexes and condos than they've built subdivisions in the same amount of land. So that tells me that, you know, most people can't even can't really apply for a mortgage because people don't look at it long term that they'll be able to afford caring for a house for a long amount of time. Not to mention the hustle of refinancing. Now, people don't talk about that. Well, you know, I think it's the best thing you could do, and even though mortgage rates are going up, like interest rates are going up, people don't talk about, you know, sometimes you get taxed so much that you refinance, and that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you refinance so your payment per month is lower, but you're not really putting a dent in your principal, unless you're going to use that extra money that you was overpaying and put it into your principal, you know, once you start doing that. So it gets very, and that gets interesting too, because at the end of the day, now we're talking about, you know, how you going what's middle class? Because you could live in a middle class neighborhood and be couple of paychecks away from being out of a middle class neighborhood, which means you wasn't middle class to begin with. Like, you know, when people say you need a 6-month cushion or a year cushion, I mean, how many people actually have that? And to have that, how much money do you have to make in a year to afford that 6-month to a year cushion? And I don't think people think about that. So, you know, I just wonder, like, is 6 figures the new middle class? So let me know what y'all think. Peace. Walk it.